Happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Welcome aboard. Yes, tonight is Thursday, October 19th, 2023. This is live stream 977. If this is your first time tuning in, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And we'll normally take a first look at a game, or I might provide a live review. Wow, I can't even speak English, and I'm not even, a minute into the show? Jeez. Anyway, yes, normally it is a live first look or review of a game. Today, we are going to keep the Free League Publishing Week rolling along as I will be taking a peek into Symbaroum, Davokar Awakens. This is the final chapter in the Chronicle of the Throne of Thorns adventure campaign, so we'll be diving on into this in just a short while. If you're not overly familiar with this show, I do want to point out, especially if you are tuning in to check the live first look, we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we get on into that page through. So if you're watching live, just kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. It's Thursday, or as our friend the Madman likes to say, Friday Eve. Of course, if you're tuning in 30 minutes or more after the stream ends, then there will be timestamps. Those are located in the show notes. So if you are impatient, you really got to get to that first look, you'll be able to jump past the tabletop gaming news. Now, depending on the device you might happen to be using to watch this, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline in front of you. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live show, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to chime in, maybe you got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about Davokar Awakens you want a closer look at, and you've been a subscriber for 48 hours or more, by all means, toss something out in chat. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Testy Trekkie. The Madman is also with us. He is one of our chat moderators. We also have Roger Prudhomme. Kevin King is in chat with us as well. I thought there was maybe one other person in chat. That's why I kind of paused. There we go. It's Flaming Huron. I was going to say, I thought for sure I had seen another name there, and I was like, wait, who am I missing? So welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. It is Thursday evening, and of course, as you can already tell, if you're not overly familiar with the show, it's really casual around here. We are certainly not engaged in any sort of rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. So let's jump on into the news, because arriving next month from Arcane Wonders is World Wonders. And here's the latest. Take on the role of the great leaders of the past to build your own ancient city. Each player will use their gold each round to build tiles that will increase their city's economy. A city that produces more food and generates commerce brings more population. Make your city grow. There are 5 types of building, and each of them provides a type of resource that will make your city evolve from a simple settlement to the largest city in the world. If your buildings are completely enclosed from all sides, you've created a very well-planned city block, and that's going to earn you lots of points. To build new buildings in your city, you also need to have a lot of roads. Adjacency with roads will allow you to place buildings further away from the map. This will reach natural resources, which, in addition to other benefits, bring victory points. As important as the buildings are its monuments and wonders tokens. This will bring you a lot of victory points, but will consume all your gold. Be wise in choosing when and where to place it. Each monument requires buildings, roads, natural resources, or even water in its adjacency to be placed. Won't be easy to fit them into your city, but the benefits will be great. If your gold runs out, your turn is also over. Once all players have spent their gold, a new round will begin and new buildings and roads will be available to everyone. In the end, as soon as a player reaches the maximum population limit, the leader of the best city in the ancient world will be the winner of World Wonders. World Wonders is for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 70 minutes. It is going to carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it lands in stores November 1st. And I should also point out, I did see that there are copies available to ship right now from the Arcane Wonders website. So if you order from them, you might actually get it before it arrives in stores. Well, how about that? Shaz is with us, as is Beat Cafe. It's been a while since we've seen Beat Cafe. Good to have you joining us here in chat tonight. Let's move on to some role-playing game news, because the role-playing game The Mending Circle is about to enter its final week on Kickstarter. Here's what I know about the game. In The Mending Circle, you tell healing stories together. At their heart is always one or more of the torn, someone in a state of pain or anxiety or in need of support. Most likely they are scared, poor, isolated, or marginalized in some way that makes it difficult for them to access help themselves. This pain does not come from a physical ache, but rather from a metaphorical emotional wound. If it persists, it often leads to more suffering radiating outwards. But this wound catches the attention of 3 witches that set out to help. Using your magical charms, you will help and guide the process of healing. As a first step, the torn needs to reach a state of relative safety and stability. Only after this is achieved can they confront the source of their pain and gain awareness. Finally, they have to make new meaning for themselves to move forward. The Mending Circle is a GM-less role-playing game for precisely 3 players. You can pick a quick start scenario or use a mystical augury rite with tarot cards, dripping wax, letter tiles, etc., whatever you have on hand. To discover the basics of the wound you have to heal. Then you narrate scenes together, exploring the world and the people of your story. A magical wound sigil guides your path and helps you lead the torn toward healing. The game's going to contain an approximately 160-page rulebook with full color illustrations, 8 aura play sheets for the different types of witches, quick start kits to get you into the story quicker, as well as help sheets, making it easier to run the game. There is a very quick Kickstarter video. It's about a minute or so in length. I'll give you a little bit of a better idea about The Mending Circle.
The Mending Circle is a gentle role-playing game of hope and healing. 3 witches are called upon to help someone suffering from an emotional wound. Using their empathy and their magic, they heal the world, one person at a time. Hi, I'm Martin. I'm the designer of the Mending Circle, and thanks for stopping by. This game is very near to my heart, as making it was part of my own healing journey. I am beyond excited to share it with you and to finally see it in print. The Mending Circle is a personal game that explores vulnerability closely. Because of this, it is designed for 3 players only, an intimate gathering. There's no game master who controls the story either. It is wholly collaborative. Together, you tell the story of the witches setting out to help someone who's suffering, someone who can't do it alone. They just need a break. They need a guardian angel. And that's where you come in.
The Kickstarter project for the Mending Circle is nearing the 200% funding mark. You can reserve a copy of the softcover with PDF for a pledge of approximately $37, or score just the PDF for a pledge of approximately $13 through October 27th, with an expected delivery of the digital products next March, with the physical book to follow next April. As far as I understand, I believe this is a second edition. This is actually, I think, the second edition of this role-playing game. Tessie Trekkie says, well, I would never play this game. It seems cute and harmless enough, as long as it doesn't evolve into real-world therapy. Yeah, you know, and I see Kevin King had said, yay, therapy is a game. Got to remember, I share news pieces of games of all sorts. So I don't only share news pieces for specific people who hang out in chat or anything like that. So this has actually done pretty well over on Kickstarter. And I will also mention that the designer of this game has actually worked on quite a few games you may have heard of. And not necessarily of this sort of stripe. But yeah, this, I mean, seems like a pleasant enough game. May not necessarily be, you know, my cup of tea, but I am sharing the news piece with you. And to be honest, I'll probably actually have an opportunity to share a review of this sometime next spring. So there you have it. Moving right along, let's completely shift gears, because now we're going to go to the other side of the spectrum, other end of the spectrum, I guess. Because there is a new bundle of holding which has arrived, and it features Cult, Divinity Lost from Helmgast. Why do I keep always wanting to call them Helgast? It's Helmgast. I've got the deets on the deal. Magician. We've resurrected our October 2020 Cult Divinity Lost bundle, featuring the 2018 Helmgast edition of the acclaimed tabletop role-playing game of contemporary horror, Cult. The world around us is a lie, and humanity is trapped in illusion. By discovering the truth about our prison, our captors, our hidden past, and our shadow selves, player characters hope to awaken from their induced sleep and take control of a stolen destiny. Funded in a February 2016 Kickstarter campaign, Cult Divinity Lost updates the original 1991 Cult with a new rule set powered by the apocalypse. But just as before, death in Cult is only the beginning. Escape your nightmares, strike bargains with demons, and try to stay alive in a world full of pain. Content warning. Cult has always been and remains a game of visceral and psychological horror about madness, sex, brutality, and death. You've been warned. For just $14.95, you'll get all 3 titles in this revived offers starter collection, which has a retail value of $49, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Cult Divinity Lost core rulebook, the Game Master screen, and the reference deck. And if you pay more than this Revival's threshold price currently of $25.69, you'll level up and also get this offer's entire bonus collection, with 3 more titles worth an additional $52, including the full-length campaign, The Black Madonna, the Scenario Collection, Taroticum and Other Tales, and a print and cut deck of Unsettling Cult tarot cards, which are used in the title scenario of, you guessed it, Chronicle. These savings run through November 6th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to the not-for-profit initiative Roll versus Evil. So yes, a bundle about twisted horror which will profit Roll versus Evil. Kevin King says, content warning, this might make you want to play the Mending Circle instead. Like I said, we're going from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. I'll be the first to admit, I have never had an opportunity to take a peek at Cult, the Divinity, or Divinity Lost, I should say. If I remember correctly, it wasn't too long ago that I believe it was the folks over at Helmgast had reached out to ask if I'd be interested in taking a peek. And I said, yeah, I would. And then I never heard anything again. So I don't know. Alrighty, on to the final news piece, because now available as a box set and in PDF as well is Dungeon Crawl Classics Adventure 100. The music of the spheres is chaos. Here's the lowdown. The biggest Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure ever. Ever. A level 5 adventure for DCC. Eons past, a brotherhood of mad philosopher kings marched an army of slaves into the heart of a mountain. On their backs, they bore a legendary treasure hoard. Coffers spilling over with blazing gems, strongboxes bright with gold, and the jeweled idols of 1,000 gods. They were never seen again. Today, the gleaming domes at the top of the world have fallen to the passage of time and the crush of glaciers. Once imperious halls are coated with dust and ice. Memories of the fabled treasure hoard and the heretical Therphages are lost to antiquity. But deep within the heart of the mountain, the flames of chaos sputter and flare. Now the legacy of the God Eaters is drawing to a close. With each thunderous turn of the alembic key, meteors streak the sky and prophets fling themselves from the turrets of high towers. And the alleys and the palaces all know that the hour of the dragon will soon be at hand. Can you and your companions master the mysteries of the God Eaters in time? Or, like so many others before, will you succumb to the music of the spheres? This box set for the 100th Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure is available with PDF for an MSRP of $65, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $45. Now, I will point out, in my opinion, for a difference in between the physical box set with the PDF or just the PDF for $20 less, I got to say I would go with the box set because there are actually some physical aspects to the dungeon map that you probably would want to have physical copies of. So I believe there's portions of the dungeon map that actually turn. They spin. And I will also point out, this is a Harley Stroh adventure, and Harley Stroh does really good Dungeon Crawl Classics adventures. No doubt about that. So I would definitely recommend, if you are a big fan of Dungeon Crawl Classics, you might want to take a peek at this. Most definitely. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com. First, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up to help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, we'll mention the Halloween sale has kicked off over at DriveThruRPG. Little disappointing, to be very honest, for two reasons. Number one, doesn't look like a ton of stuff. I think, which is funny, it looks like, I think it's like 4,000 items, which I know you're sitting there going, oh my gosh. But if you take a look at the number of sale items that we have, like in the Christmas and July sale or the Black Friday sale, that's usually like 30,000. And I didn't see any Call of Cthulhu stuff on sale. How can you have a Halloween sale, but not have any Call of Cthulhu stuff on sale? So that's one of the disappointing things. The other is it does not look as if we're going to have that little scavenger hunt like we have for quite a long time on many of the drive-through sites. I was taking a peek, you know how you have to go to certain pages and click on little icons, like they have like a wrapped piece of candy and a witch's hat, black cat, things like that. And you would get a free PDF added into your checkout. Nothing indicated about that this year. And usually there's a little message when you take a look at the sale page. It'll say, oh, be sure to go trick-or-treating at the other sites for free goodies or whatever. Doesn't say that this year. It just says, be sure to go trick-or-treating at the other sites for more Halloween sale items or something about that along those lines. So kind of a bummer. I was looking forward to it because I actually have a list of the various different pages that always have like little giveaway icons. Oh, well. So Tessie Trekkie says they have the edition of Cult that has all the mammary glands on the covers. My wife doesn't like it. Yes, I was going to say there tends to be a bit of feminine nudity in Cult, I do believe. So Tessie Trekkie says, Flaming Heron, in the words of Blackadder, who'd notice another madman around here? I love Blackadder. Kevin also points out that the Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure looks more complex than their usual 30-page adventures. It is, I think the book clocks in at 112 pages, somewhere in that vicinity. So we've got that. And our friend Shen from Taiwan is with us in chat. I think I've said hello to everybody in chat so far. All right. Other thing I do want to mention is if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, by all means, please stop by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. Yes, you can always buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Yum, 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 yum. And recently, Melwinius from York, or I should say Melwinius of York, I believe is what it is, right? Pretty sure. We haven't seen Melwinius in chat in about a week or so. But Melwinius of York and the Madman recently stopped by paypal.me and made a small donation. Well, I shouldn't say small. They made donations, not small donations. So there. All righty then. Actually, I need to take a peek at something here. All right, I was getting like a little flickering on my monitor here, and I was wondering what in the world is going on. So I thought, is it something with the stream? But no, everything looks fine. So knock on wood, it's all good. It's all good. So we are going to be diving on in and taking a look at Symbaroum Davokar Awakens in a few moments. But a few things I did want to mention. First of all, no show on Tuesday because it's my birthday. So there will not be a show on Tuesday. It's actually my sister-in-law's birthday too. And then on Wednesday, it's my mom's birthday. And we just get together on the 24th and we just celebrate all three. So we just knock that out of the park pretty easily enough. So just wanted to mention, no show next Tuesday, but there will be Wednesday and Thursday. And as far as I understand, we are probably going to look at Cults of RuneQuest mythology, and there's something else that I just saw is in transit that we'll probably be taking a peek at. Of course, right now I don't recall. Oh, I know what it is. It's the new Warhammer 40K role-playing game from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Yes. Imperious Maledictum or something along those lines. It's like, okay, I'm not necessarily all that well versed with 40K. And then you throw that title at me. It's like, I'll get it right. I'll get it right at some point, especially once I get a chance to take a look at it. Lord Cost 2000 is hanging with the gang tonight. Welcome aboard. So, one thing I was going to mention, and we'll jump on into the brief intermission. I mentioned this last night when we were taking a look at Starfinder Enhanced. And I said, oh, I'll kind of talk more about that when we're done with the first look, and then I forgot. But I did get an email from Paizo Inc. talking about how they're increasing their prices. And on average, it's like $3 to $5. And it's also indicating that, like, there's supplements. So, as an example, like Starfinder Enhanced would be, those are going to be priced based on page count. So anywhere from $44.99 to $69.99. Now, I do understand that the Pathfinder remastered releases are going to kind of hold the line. I think they're going to be $59.99, but they are going to clock in at 400 plus pages for each of those. And the thing I wanted to mention is, I understand it. I see where it's coming from. But the problem now has become when we saw Wizards of the Coast decide to bump their prices up. Everyone else figures, well, if they're doing it, we can do it too. So I even mentioned when we were looking at some of the Free League publishing stuff where it's like, wow, for an example, the Lost Mountain Saga for Vaesen, which looked pretty interesting. I'm going to read through it and review it. But it was like, 92 pages? $39.99. I was like, wow, holy cow. The Madman says they saw that announcement from Paizo on Twitter. Sorry, I refuse to call it X. Madman also points out we won't be seeing him around here until next Thursday. So, Flaming Heron says paper costs a lot, I guess. Well, I do get it. The cost of art has gone up. And of course, a lot of artists out there are trying to make up for the whole usage of AI by charging more for their artwork. So, Tessie Trekkie does point out paper costs have doubled in the last 2 years. Now, one thing that Paizo Inc. did point out is that there is a specific sort of ink that they use, which is good for the environment. So, and I guess they've been using it for a long time. And it's one of the things that makes the artwork in that pop, which when you're taking a look at Paizo books, the artwork does pop. Yeah, you got to agree with them on that. Thank you. Madman pointed out soy ink. And it is more expensive. Paizo's never made a big deal about it. Not like, oh, hey, check out our soy ink or anything like that. But they were also mentioning, well, get the cost of that. So I get it. I understand it. I'm not trying to like rip on Paizo or Free League Publishing or anything like that. But you do see there's a trickle down where just because now we see Paizo increasing their prices, obviously enough, we will see other publishers increase their prices and cut page counts of books, which then suddenly means everybody's going to be charging more for their PDFs, which Paizo will be as well. And myself personally, this is just my personal opinion, I wouldn't have much of an issue with a price increase for physical books if these companies also gave you the PDF. If they gave you the PDF for free, if you ordered it from them or a bits and mortar location, someone who's got a partnership with that publisher, then I would say, yeah, okay, great. But a lot of companies out there do not give you the PDF with your game book or adventure or what have you. And if you want the PDF, you pay extra. Yeah, I'm not so cool about that. Man said they do like that Paizo is using sustainable paper sources. Yes, that is another thing. Flaming Heron says, yeah, they get it, just doesn't make it any better. No, it doesn't. But here's the thing. And I know there are a lot of people out there complaining about this. Role-playing games are still a pretty damn reasonable hobby to be involved with. Just think about it. Even if, well, use once again as an example, the Lost Mountain Saga. $40, it's not even 100 pages, 5 adventures. But if those 5 adventures are good and you and your group enjoys a couple of months of gaming out of it, depending on how often you get together to play, maybe even more than that, well, then that $39.99 is suddenly one hell of a bargain. Plus, just think if you were into miniatures. If you played miniatures games, you'd be sitting there saying, you role-playing gamers are complaining about prices? I'll tell you about prices. Roger Perdome says, Planescape's page count isn't very high, but you got to give it to them. The paper thickness and quality is impressive. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Have no idea. Tessie Trekkie said they have a friend working in a local academic printery, and their final prices have had to increase 20 to 30%. Yes, because as Tessie Trekkie is also pointing out, you also have staff pay increases. Which don't even get me started on that kind of stuff. Yes, I want to make $25 an hour asking you, would you like fries with that? Now, I'm not saying people should not be able to work one job and live on what their proceeds are from their, hard work. I'm not saying that at all. But the problem is when you have people who work in a fast food restaurant and haven't gone to college or anything like that, and they expect $25 an hour, what are you going to start paying other people? So I can see where, some of these companies are coming from, where it's like, can't get anybody to work for us because we can't afford to pay them what they want. Problem is, like anything else, as terrible as this may sound, people just have way, way too high an evaluation of what their talents are worth. That's the reality. That is the reality. So Flaming Heron says, not really feasible to work one job nowadays. Well, it depends on what you do. I have a lot of friends. They work one job. They've always worked one job. Flaming Heron also points out it's a vicious cycle. Flaming Heron says, one person's wages go up, you need to charge more, and then people need to get paid more to pay for that. Oh, yeah. I get it. I understand. And if you live in Australia, forget ordering anything from overseas, because that'll just put you at the poorhouse. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that, I did see the pricing increase, and yeah, I understand where it's coming from. It's a bummer, make no doubt about it, but I think we're going to see this trickle down to publishers who really don't have these kind of overhead prices, so that they figure, well, these guys are charging more. Now we're going to charge more. Yeah, PDFs have become much more expensive. Digital files are just far more expensive to maintain. Okay. Alrighty then. So we are going to be diving on into Symbaroum, Davokar Awakens in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
What are those spooks doing?
Serving Wilkins tea. It's out of this world. Finest tea served, ghost to ghost.
I'm Vincent Price, and you're invited to my party in the house on Haunted Hill, where so far the ghosts have murdered only 7 people. So won't you come and make it 8? You'll see human heads without bodies. Mysterious pools of blood dripping from the ceiling. The walls move slowly in against you. Don't try to escape, you can't. You ready, dear?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes, damn you.
The ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me in the house on Haunted Hill? Hurry, or you'll be late for your own funeral.
Scary kids, scary. Alrighty, so tonight we're going to dive on in and take a peek at Symbaroum, Davokar Awakens from Free League Publishing. It's written by Matthias Jonsson Hack. I think that's how it's pronounced. With artwork provided by Martin Grip, Gustav Ekelund, and Lars Stromqvist. The 196-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $39.99, or grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. And yes, I do understand I have massacred probably every one of those names, except for Martin's. I'm pretty sure I got that one right. Let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Davokar Awakens. Do want to mention the fine folks over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. We're not going to look at each and every page of this book either, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what's inside Davokar Awakens and kind of get an idea of it myself. I have not cracked this book open at all. I did notice, I did see a couple of pages from a PDF, and, you know, I've been talking about like white space with Vaesen and Tales from the Loop. This is not set up, that's not designed, it's not graphically detailed like that. It's actually got quite a lot of text, so very, very cool. Lastly, should mention that this is an adventure. This is the final chapter in the Chronicle of the Throne, the Throne of, I think it's Throne of Thorns. I always want to say like Iron Throne. Game of Thrones? What is this? What is this called? Anyway, I believe it's the finale to the Chronicle of the Throne of Thorns campaign. Let's take a look at the back here. I'm not going to read all of this. I'll just read this here. The eternal night has descended on the forest of Davokar. In the 6th and final episode in the Chronicle of the Throne of Thorns, there you go. Okay, so that is it. The fate of the world is decided. The darkness that for centuries has... That just didn't seem right. The darkness that for centuries has been fettered by the roots of the woods breaks free and spreads in all directions. The living are faced with a seemingly hopeless fight against a never-ending flood of merciless enemies. But is all hope lost? That question remains for you and your friends to answer. My understanding, one of the big deals with this adventure campaign has been that the player characters actually really do have an effect on the game world. And I think that's really a big deal of what's going on here in this final book. I got to be very honest, I don't really know much about this at all because I think I only have one other book out of the 6 volumes, if even that. I'll have to double check. But I know Sammy is planning on reviewing the 6 chapters of this campaign, so stay tuned for that. So it looks like 9 years ago, Free League Publishing began sharing titles in this campaign world. I think it was 9 years ago that they actually published Symbaroum. But it actually has taken quite a while for this final chapter of this adventure campaign to come out. So I know a lot of people have been eagerly anticipating this. I'm kind of curious myself as far as what the future holds for Symbaroum. And the reason why is because this is a game that's created from another content creator, I guess we'll say. It wasn't originally designed in-house with Free League Publishing. Free League Publishing took this on to publish, but it was available previously, I believe, in Swedish. So I would take a guess that we're going to see more content for Symbaroum in the future, because it's not really an in-house property, even though I think Free League Publishing does own it now. So let's see. Tessie Trekkie says, series summary: the Empire of Symbaroum FAFO with the giant evil. It got bound under the forest. It's now cracking free. Yes, because this is kind of a dark fairy tale setting. This is not a grim, dark setting, because the war against the big bad ended. And they were defeated, but barely. So we have the area around the forest of Davokar being resettled by the free peoples. And Davokar is this just primordial forest filled with dark dangers. And that has actually been something that has been part of Symbaroum from the beginning, is with the forest of Davokar. And it's actually really cool. I have reviewed the core books that have come out for Symbaroum and really like it quite a lot. It does use the Year Zero engine from Free League Publishing. So here we got a campaign overview of the Throne of Thorns. It says the barbarian legend presented to the left, right there, gives voice to an allegory that, according to the clan folk, explained the workings of the world. And there is actually a campaign overview you can download from Free League Publishing, and it is free. So it appears that, as Tessie Trekkie pointed out, the great evil within the forest of Davokar has finally awakened and is emerging from the forest. So it looks like we've got some stat blocks of various different monsters. We've got the Clan Fiend, the Axe Fiend, and the Night Giant. Those are all abominations. That's kind of cool. Get you a better look at that artwork with the giant spider. You'll probably recognize Martin Grip's artwork, because he's done artwork for the Lord of the Rings role-playing, second edition of The One Ring, Alien, Blade Runner. Yeah, he does a lot of work for Free League Publishing. Just taking a quick peek through here. I would actually talk more about this, but like I said, I really don't know much about this adventure campaign. Kevin King says, so pagan-infused fantasy rather than Christian-infused, like Middle-earth, but same tone. I would say yes. I would say that's actually a pretty good summation. So it looks as if we've got 3 major chapters here. Davokar, the forest has always been as hostile as it is beautiful, as terrifying as it is alluring. But now the sense of dread danger has taken over completely. The mist shredded by the rays of the morning sun can still be beautiful, and the dance of moonlight over glades covered in damp moss is as breathtaking as ever. But the lasting feeling is very different when you are constantly worrying about what may be lurking in the haze or hiding beneath the glistening moss. A poetic and cautionary exaggeration famously says that every step in Davokar may be your last. This saying rings more true with each passing day. Skullbiter Wraith and the Darkness. I wish we had some images here of these. Let's see, do we? Don't think so. Nope. Looks like we've got some encounters and some events. Another aspect of the forest is that the deeper you go into Davokar, the more twisted reality kind of becomes. So you have a bit of, I wouldn't necessarily say like the Fae, but there is that vibe. There is that vibe where the deeper you go into the forest, you can't necessarily trust your eyes and ears. So Tessie Trekkie says, I can't recommend the game and adventure series highly enough. Just make sure you get one of the later printings of the core that updates the monster stat blocks to the new format. Kevin points out one of their players is an arachnophobe, so that one creature may be a bit of a problem, although they're quite tempted. Yes, my best friend Elliot Miller does not care for spiders. In fact, I always joke around that one day I'm just going to like make sure that somebody ties him down so he has to watch the movie Arachnophobia. Because the scene where, forget who it is it John Goodman? I think it's John Goodman. It's like moving and the spider just keeps pace with them. Oh, my best friend would be shitting his pants watching that. Tessie Trekkie says, oh, there are Fae in Davokar, the classic eat your soul while giggling type. Yes. What I meant is it's not like the Dungeons and Dragons Fae. It's more, once again, dark fairy tale sort of fairies. And then we have the final section, the Throne of Thorns. The time has come for the factions to unite or collide, for the darkness to perish or triumph, for the fate of the Davokar region to be decided. An awful lot has happened since the Wells spoke in Thistlehold. The Sun Church has been shattered by internal conflicts. The clans have been divided by the advance of the Sovereign's Oath. Ambria has been consumed by civil war and is now overrun by the darkness of Davokar. Only the forces of Ratha have grown stronger and stronger, but the question is whether they are powerful enough to wrest the region's land and people from Wielda's grip. This does seem like this is a very epic adventure campaign. Which the reality is, a lot of times fantasy role-playing games, even if they have multi-chapter releases, the adventures aren't always epic. The campaigns aren't always epic in scope. So this really does seem like your player characters will probably have come a long way. Another fantasy role-playing game campaign that I feel is extremely epic is The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I mean, there are big realm-shaking events that take place in that. So definitely dig that. Another one, which you're going to see a review very soon, is Kingmaker from Paizo Inc. for 2nd edition Pathfinder. Once again, another big, epic fantasy campaign. I love that. Only problem can be, do you have an opportunity to actually run it all? So there is that. The Madman says they were considering running Symbaroum for 5e for a virtual tabletop group, but last he checked, there wasn't any Fantasy Grounds adventure content. Huh. That's weird. I would think I think it's on Foundry, if I remember correctly. Madman says they do plan to run Kingmaker on Fantasy Grounds after they're done with Middle Earth for 5e. So here is a map of Symbar. So it looks like we get a breakdown of various different events, probably based upon the actions of the player characters. I do like these maps. Pretty nicely done. And we have the aftermath. Is it with both elation and sadness that this chapter is written? The very last, oh, I should say, it is with both elation and sadness that this chapter is written. The very last in the Chronicle of the Throne of Thorns. The fate of the throne is sealed, at least for the foreseeable future. It is either held by someone who is unlikely to abdicate anytime soon, or rendered powerless, separated from its source in the yonder world. Either way, the story ends here in one of innumerable ways. Sweet, very nice. Once again, as I mentioned, here, looks like the map goes that way. Yep. Sammy is going to be reviewing all 6 chapters of the Throne of Thorns campaign. Oh, cool. Looks like we've got a few different maps in here to hand out to the players. And then speaking of handouts, there we go. Nice. But remember, as I had mentioned, look at how just dense the text is. And once again, I'm not trying to pick on like Vaesen or Tales from the Loop, but I mean, when you compare them side by side, okay, so it's not such a great example. It's a little bit better, something like this, where, you know, a lot of white space here. Seems like every time we're ending a chapter, we end a chapter with a page that's got loads and loads of white space on it. So, but stay tuned. I will be reviewing the Lost Mountain Saga. I cannot share my review of this until Halloween because there is an embargo. Flaming Heron says the spacing is wildly different. But you would really feel like, hey, you know what? I am getting my money's worth with a book like this. Plus, keep in mind, same price point, $39.99 as, okay, once again, the Lost Mountain Saga. This is 196 pages, whereas the Vaesen release is, what was it, 94? It wasn't even that much, I don't think. Oh, 84, that was it. It's, well, 85. And that's $39.99. Now, I will point out that the paper quality, really, really nice. It's not that same kind of matte paper that we do see with the Vaesen and the Tales from the Loop books. This does have a little bit of a sheen to it. It's a little thinner, but still really nicely done. Symbaroum is really a very, very interesting fantasy role-playing game, and it is relatively rules light because anything that uses the year one engine is relatively rules light because it's a dice pool system is what you're looking at. So if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure this does use the year one engine. It's been a long time since I actually looked at a Symbaroum book. All right, so that is Davokar Awakens from Free League Publishing for Symbaroum. And this 196-page hardcover with PDF carries that aforementioned MSRP of $39.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Tessie Trekkie says it's not year zero engine, it's D20 roll under. Yeah, I couldn't remember. But you know, here's the funny thing. On DriveThruRPG, they do say that this is year zero engine. But I agree. I understand where Tessie Trekkie's coming from. That's why I said I couldn't remember if it is or not, because it's been a long time since I actually shared any coverage of a Symbaroum book. Flaming Herons has got more into it from the giveaway I ran, and although they haven't run it, they've enjoyed reading it. Nice. Very cool. All right. So that is our first look at Davokar Awakens. And that is kind of pretty much the final video in our Free League Publishing week. There are some news pieces that are going to be popping up later on down the week, but as far as videos go, that is it. So kind of focused on Free League Publishing this week. And of course, if you missed it, I did share a standalone video, which is my review of Tales from the Loop, They Grow Up So Fast, which is the latest adventure campaign for Tales from the Loop. If you haven't checked that out, by all means, take a peek. Alrighty, that is it for this time out. Remember, no show on Tuesday. It is my birthday. And here's something funny. This is how much I really care about my birthday. So anytime I think to myself what my age is, I have said, oh yeah, I'm 56. I'm not. I'm actually 55. I turn 56 next week, but I've been like, oh yeah, 56. It's like, just saying, that's how little I care about my birthday and my age. Didn't even remember how old I am. I tell you. Alrighty, but next week we will be taking a look at the new Warhammer 40K role-playing game from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. It's not going to be the limited edition, collector's edition. It'll just be the regular one. And then we should also be taking a look at Cults of RuneQuest Mythology, which should be arriving as well. Flaming Heron says, you know you're getting old when you forget your age. I think it's just, I don't care, you know? It's not like you sit there going, I feel every moment of 55 years old. No, not at all. So I feel like a big kid still. I feel like I'm in my 30s, which obviously I'm not. So the Madman says they're 59, and from now on, they're going to subtract a year. Flaming Heron says, be happy you know your birthday. My mother still forgets when he was born. My mom can't forget because I'm born the day before her birthday. You've no doubt heard me say before that I was the worst birthday present my mom ever got, and she couldn't return me. So, anywho, if you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap to you. Much appreciated, because not only do you keep me company, you keep each other company when I'm taking a page through of a book or unboxing a board game. So you help, keep everybody occupied when I'm just staring at something and mispronouncing things left and right. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very kindly for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it happens to be in your neck of the woods. Don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, usually at 7 p.m. Central here on YouTube. Also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my first looks and reviews of tabletop games. Very nice, very nice. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on Wednesday. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and I certainly hope all of you out there get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.